Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Man, my auntie passed last night. This is a sad life. I'm trying to get my cash.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy B-Dell. I am back with a paradigm shifting transmission. If you're new to this channel, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. But today we're going to be talking about a compilation of ramifications that goes against the rectitude and the principles of the universe that's interconnected to chaos in order to encompass a new world order governmental system that's based on totalitarian feudalism that's connected to the military industrial complex for world domination. Because all these afflictional psychological operations is the precursor to socialism. So we're dealing with frequency modification, weather modification, when you're talking about CERN and NASA, and the implementation of Project Bluebeam, right? But what you got to understand is that when it comes to westernized science and westernized nanotechnology, everything is based on unconventional asymmetrical warfare that goes against the laws of nature to centralize and to destabilize humanity under the banner of the United Nations. So this is basically your sheer form of a new world order governmental system, right? So first, we're going to start out with this publication by NASA, right? Now, this publication came out months before 9/11, right? It came out in 2001 in July. So it tells you all these afflictional concepts of destabilization to implement a new world order, right? A communistic society. So it's all based on warfare strategy, right? When you're talking about many different things, you're talking about frequency modification, you're talking about human limitations, you're talking about brain frequency modulations, you're talking about an amalgamation of many different things that basically subjugates humanity on a mental, physical, and a spiritual level. So you can see at the top right here, it's all connected to the year 2025. So this video is basically the sequel to the Blue Star Kachina video, right? So we're gonna get straight to it. Get your notes out because this is a very important video, because this video is packed with a lot of information when you're talking about merging humans with cybernetics and transhumanism and how it's all connected to the digital currency system when you're talking about Fed now and things of that nature, right? We finna get straight to it. So that publication was created by this guy right here. His name is Dennis Bushnell. He is basically the chief scientist for NASA, and he's also connected to the Church of a Luciferian Church, which is also connected to the Temple of Set, which is also connected to the Knights of Order and adjacent society and all these secret societies. Because, like I told you, the third eye for the beast is artificial intelligence, right? So, like I said, he has 6 patents and over 250 publications that presents the future technology to impact humanity and society for a totalitarian system. He's the one who created that publication for NASA, right? So we're going to keep going. So this is talking about space Earth, right? And it's basically talking about a form of anthropogenic climate change, because they know that, you know, these new energies that's being projected to the planet, the solar transmission, is causing a reconfiguration in their system. When you're talking about the electrical grid, when you're talking about the people who have the non-ether genetical properties and the people who have 6 ether genetical properties, everything on the planet is being upgraded at a biological level. So they try to make technology synonymous to the upgrade of the planet to subjugate the ascension process, right? So these are the alphabet groups that's basically connected to this publication, that basically they formed in an alliance in order to galvanize this New World Order system, right? So you got the UAF, you got the National Research Council, you got the Army After Next, you got the SSG, and you also have DARPA, you got the CIA, the DIA. You have all these alphabetical groups that's connected to the New World Order system, because these groups are basically a stem from the United Nations, right? So this is all the stuff that I'm going to be showing you in this video, in this excerpt, is basically being created by these alphabet groups that I'm showing you right now. So the reason that is because they say that humans have taken over. So like I said, because they know that the inception of the planet is galvanized by a republic, which is a matriarch. So they know that the people have the real power. So in order to subjugate humanity, they have to do it from a form of technology, right? So this is also constituted by the perception of global warming, pollution. I don't know why I did that. Global warming. It's also talking about the genomic design and repair. When you're talking about mind children and all these directed evolutionary molecular concepts on how to basically subjugate your genetics to where you're not able to procreate. Because you got to get this book called White House Years that was written by Henry Kissinger, and Henry Kissinger was the I think he was a senator, right? He was a senator, or he was like the chief of the White House or something like that. And in 1975, he came out with the National Memorandum 200, and he basically said that that birth on the planet, specifically Black birth, is at unstable heights. In order to subjugate that type of energy, you have to manipulate everything on a resourceful level. When you're talking about the water system, when you're talking about the food, all these nanogenetic materials and these nanotechnologies is what basically locks down your DNA to where you don't have children, right? So that's why they said they know that the power is within the people, so they don't want the people to take over the planet. So that's why that coincides with the Deagle publication on how they want to basically wipe out 1/3 of the population. Now, this is also talking about the robotization of IT and bio, nano, industry, agriculture, meaning that everything is going to be, so even if you're vegan, right, all these things is going to be weaponized from nanotechnology. So you can't really get away from it. So everything in the system is basically compromised. Because like I told you, it's going to come a point in time where you're not going to be able to eat food, because everything is going to have these nanomaterials in it that basically stops the ascension process. So it's going to come down to the point where you're going to have to perform ultra fast internal conversion to where you reap the benefits of the solar transmission that's hitting the planet, to where it permeates your molecular structure and gives you a biological upgrade, right? So that's how you're going to have to eat. You're going to have to eat through the solar transmission. You're going to have to pull through the energy, just like how Superman, he got that electromagnetic radiation from the blue sun, the red sun, and the yellow sun. And you know what I'm saying? It basically transmuted his energy to which made him a god, right? So this is IT status. So this right here, when you read at the bottom, I got to highlight it. It's best IW. When you understand the semantics that they play with the terminologies. This IW means info warfare. Warfare means that they want to basically dismantle all the information that's being propagated all throughout social media when you're talking about the truth speakers, because they say it basically constitutes a fourth weapons of mass destruction. And the reason that is because, like I said, they know that the truth is a weapon that basically reverses the polarity of the evil that's connected to their technological systems of economic Darwinism and things of that nature, because all this stuff is based on the weaponization of technology and artificial intelligence. So like I said, it's going to come down to the point where thinking for yourself on a critical level, on an independent level, is, it's going to be against the law. It's going to come a point in time where if you think for yourself, the Fed now, they can basically usurp your funds or stop your funds for you not being acclimated to their system in their ways of thinking, right? So like I said, this is a new form of control. So now you got the key future technologies. So you talking about the manipulation of carbon nanotubes. You talking about the manipulation of the lifespan, genetic engineering before birth. All these things, you know what I'm saying, is basically connected to the fact that it's a form of the population. Because I told you, they want to, get the ball running for this new system right before 2025. So this right here is telling you that IT revolution upon society, telecommuting, teleshopping, tele-entertainment, teletravel, education, telemedicine, telecommerce, telepolitics, telesocialization, meaning that they want to keep you in this autonomous box to where you don't leave your home. So it's basically a high frequency, a low vibrational frequency of how can I say it? Martial law, because it's gonna become a point in time where they're not gonna let you leave your house. So everything is gonna be based on using technology in order to reap the benefits of your resources while you stay at home. So you won't be able to get those energies and those frequencies of the sun because they know that the planet is upgrading. They want to keep you in the house. They want to keep you boxed in like a cell, so where you won't think outside the limitations of the matrix system, because this is a prison planet. And another way to keep you in prison through martial law is to keep you in the damn house. So you got some IT predictions. You're talking about quantum computing initially available in 5 years, right? So it tells you about that 15% of all power today is used computers will reach 60. This is all, this already came to pass, because I told you this came out in 2001. So it was also talking about sensory augmentation, health monitoring, and brain stimulation when you're talking about the STEMO receiver, because the STEMO receiver, which is also connected to the nanotechnologies, because what happens is these EMF waves and these 5G radiation frequencies creates behavior modification, right? So they got this technology to where they can upload your thoughts on a cyber cloud through psychotronic technology, and that technology in itself is a form to basically deviate you from your original thoughts to where they can upload their thoughts that's connected to their algorithm system to where you're not able to think for yourself. So if they wanted to create a governmental psychological operation, they can use these radiation frequencies to manipulate your neurological faculties and tell you to go rob this place, go do this, go kidnap that person. And everybody, that's why, you know what I'm saying, everything as far as our technological systems is used to create these psyops to where they can have a new world order. That's why they do what they do when it comes to the frequencies. Now, this is the U.S. Human Brain Project. Now, I got this book called now Norman Burgum. He's the one who wrote The Rings of Saturn. He was a scientist that worked for NASA, and he funded 16 organizations across 5 agencies. When you're talking about NASA, the DOE, and things of that nature. He is the one who wrote this book right here. You got to get this book called The Rings of Saturn, because he knows that the magneto-hydrodynamic photon holographic Vedic simulation of reality is controlled by the Saturnians, who are extraterrestrials, who also control the cabal, who are these deep state black nobility entities who control the simulation through artificial intelligence. So he was talking about this stuff in the book. He's talking about these black extraterrestrials. They are not one of us. Those are the ones that's connected to the seeds of Enlil, right? So you got to get this book called The Ring Makers of Saturn by Norman Bergel, right? Moving on. So back to this. So like I said, it's based on manipulating the neuroinformatics, which is also an intersection of neuroscience and informatics. So like I said, it's going to come down to the point where they're going to be able to do horizontal gene transfer to where they transmute the consciousness or the brain of a person and put it inside of a technological device, right? So now it says by 2025, 40% of private and 15% of public colleges, universities are expected to close due to web-based competition. That is a lie. They're not going to be closed because of that. They're going to be closed because they know that the energy of the planet is going to create a form of pestilence, right? So the reason I said I already broke that down when you're talking about the severe intravirus epidemic respiratory syndrome, right, which basically puts an encryption on your neurological capacity when they hit you with a new form of a draconian juice. When you talk about those nanomaterials that manipulates your neurological chemistry. So like I said, it's going to come a point in time during this time period. Like I said, it's going to be a high form of martial law. You're going to be going to college at home. Everybody's going to be in the house. You know what I'm saying? So it also talks about some sensory swarms when you're talking about smart dust particles, right? Nanotags. Everything is going to be compromised. And by the way, let me, I don't want to negate, this philosophy, because they try to say that, this has been debunked. This hasn't been debunked because everything that I'm telling you right now is actually going on right now. So it's also co-opt insects, because I told you, you got the insectoids, the insectillions, who do the bidding of the draconian reptilian black nobility archons, and they also are working with Zeta Reticula-Grays, and you have Ashtar Command when you're talking about the Pleiadians. This is your majestic 12 who control everything on the dark side of the moon. So because they know that the frequency of the smart dust particles, which is a form of nanotechnology, when you breathe in these nanotechnologies, they can take over your physical vessel by causing a lunar light lock. And that lunar light lock, meaning that it keeps your frequency so low, so when they use the CERN machine to open up these portals, all these malevolent entities, these archons, these grays, can manipulate your physical vessel. That's what the technology is for, to control you. So you got uncontrollable self-replication of nano replicators and ramid recombinant, whatever that word is. Then you got examples of confluence of IT and bio and nanotechnology. You got the brain of seed and lamprey inserted and connected to the body of robotic fish. So like I said, this is a new form of a cyborg, because like I said, the great majority of these nanotechnologies is transmuted into a form of a fungus. And that fungus in itself has the ability to take over the neurological circuits, which creates the P136 deletion syndrome that's connected to the two frontal lobes of the brain. So like I said, this is what creates the manipulation of natural foods. And so they don't want you to live off the land, because they know that the food that's connected to the land and the food that's basically connected to everything on the planet can unlock certain codons. So in order to control you, they got to manipulate the food, right? And so when they manipulate the food, that also stops the ascension process. So this is where you get your concept of zombification from. This is real. Then you got microdust weaponry, right? And you have a mechanical analog to micron size microdust particles, which is distributed in an aerosol, right? So like I said, it also manipulates the lungs and your respiratory system, because because the word spirit is inside respiratory, your spirituality is connected to how you breathe. If they can control how you breathe, you're not connected to your higher self on a spiritual level. Moving on. So like I said, you have volumetric weaponry when you're talking about EMP. So I'm going to show you this video for a second, because this guy, I already showed it on the last video, but you still got to see it, because everything I'm showing you all throughout these videos is basically interconnected, right? It's interconnected. Because this guy right here, when you're talking about the World Economic Forum, he's talking about in electromagnetic post efficiency that's going to be implemented around this time. He said in 2 years. So it's 2023 going into 2025. 2025 is the 9-year. The 9-year is a genetical upgrade, because the planet is going through an ascension process, because that's when you're going to have a resurgence of the blue star Kachina that takes you to a different space and time when you're talking about the 5th dimension. Let's go.
This is the result of research in collaboration with the forum's communities and our partner Accenture, which we've interviewed and sought input from over 300 executives globally. The most striking finding that we found is that 93% of cyber leaders and 86% of cyber business leaders believe that the geopolitical instability makes a catastrophic cyber event likely in the next 2 years.
Exactly. So that's, this is important. So this is why they put out this publication right here, because this is also connected to Project Bluebeam. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it tells you right here. Hold on. It tells you that right here that Frontier Airlines offers unlimited flights for $399 via Go Wild Summer Pass. That's technology. You gonna fall for that? They want you to get on these airplanes, because when they implement Project Bluebeam in the form of a so-called alien invasion around 2025, or during this time period, whatever in between now and 2025, you're gonna have this so-called invasion, because they've been trying to introduce everything to humanity in increments, right? Through television and the media, right? So like I said, when you get on these airplanes, that's when the so-called invasion is going to happen, which is going to be created by Project Bluebeam. And the reason I say that is because Project Bluebeam is where they're going to have this fake invasion, so much to the point where they're going to be able to take down and shoot down commercial airlines, because you're going to have a lot of people taking these trips. And they're going to be like, oh, it's an alien invasion, when it's really being done and set up by a government, which is a psychological operation to introduce everybody to a new world order governmental system. That's what it's for. So don't fall for this. I'm telling you, do not fall for that. I told y'all to stay off them airplanes. But you want to live your best life, though. Right? You want to live your best life. I get it. You know what I'm saying? So this is all also connected to this video.
There's something called like Project Bluebeam.
Yeah, good one.
What is that? That's
Is
lasers, right?
yeah. I can actually talk about that one, but that is this is really bad. But the people that see orbs in the sky,
Yeah.
go around that fly faster.
UFOs?
UFOs.
Yeah, there's Navy pilots. There's multiple Navy pilots who talk about they got their, so they were flying F-18s, these Navy pilots, and one of them's coming in here in 2 weeks. He's Ryan Graves.
Okay.
He's a Navy pilot flying off the coast of North Carolina, and they got their radar upgraded on their F-18s, and all of a sudden they were seeing these things darting around on their radar.
Okay. Don't tell him what I'm about to say and see if he knows about it.
Okay.
So what we do is we play with our own forces to make sure our trickery will work on the enemy. And those are directed energy weapons of where we do intersecting beams or focus beams into the atmosphere. And notice they're always in the atmosphere to excite the electron orbitals of the oxygen and nitrogen in our atmosphere. And it causes a glow and it causes ionization. That ionization shows up on radar and it's like a cat laser pointer. And we're making planes chase them.
That's exactly how they describe these things moving, like laser pointers.
Yeah. And so we can do it in 3 space. We can make it look like
in 3-dimensional space.
Yeah. And we can make it look like an entire fleet is about to drop bombs on, let's say, Europe, and then just have them disappear. And they get all their planes up in the air, and we attack them from the other direction, assuming we're attacking Europe.
Who is doing this? The Navy, you said?
Somebody. Let's just say a group, you know.
And you know this for a fact.
Oh, no. That group he's talking about are the deep state cabal, your so-called democrats, right, who are controlled by the black nobility draconian archons behind the scenes. That's who he's talking about.
Perfect. Yeah. So anyway, don't tell your guests.
A group within the U.S. government.
Yeah, okay, we'll leave it at that. Yes.
And is this something that could be seen with the naked eye?
Or yes, is this something because it glows. It glows. So it'd be seeable, you can see it by the naked eye, and it would leave a radar trace. So it's perfect as a deception. And it involves the voice of God weapons that I was talking about.
Project Bluebeam does.
And this got leaked. So it probably won't have the effect, and they probably won't do it. But if you wanted to bring the world together, as President Reagan said in several UN speeches, you would have a common enemy like evil aliens attacking. We forget our differences and we fight against it.
So we wouldn't look at each other as Chinese or Russian or American. We look at each other as Earthlings.
As humans, as Earthlings. So that was Project Bluebeam, was to trick the human race into believing either God is coming down, everybody hears the voice of God, the microwave hearing effect, get along, give whatever the new message is, or it was going to be the evil aliens attacking. And notice how they all of a sudden, all the governments release all their information on UFOs, and there's a whole division dedicated, and that's just deception.
You think it's all deception?
I think it's all deception.
Really?
Yeah. But that's my opinion. I've looked at all the videotapes and that people have given me, and I can explain away each one of them.
So apparently, but there's apparently lots of footage and videos and photos that have not been released to the public.
Yeah, I haven't seen those. So I can't.
And if you think this is all some sort of psyop, what do you think the ultimate purpose of it is?
Distraction against a lot of this human experimentation we're doing.
There's something called like Project Bluebeam.
So, you know what I'm saying? This is a reality. It's time to tighten up. You know what I'm saying? Get your resources together. That's how you combat it, combat everything that they basically doing. So now, like I said, this is also connected to this video right here.
Is game over. Turn off the lights. Stock market crashes. And we go into an emergency broadcasting announcement, which then takes us and requires us to return to our home within 3 to 5 hours. And then that's followed by 3 to 10 days of disclosure. We're actually going to be watching previous.
That's why I put out the 10 Days of Darkness video. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't never seen, I'm just now seeing this video, and I put that out. And they try to, they try to low-key remove that. You know what I'm saying? Because they know what I'm saying is actually facts. So like I said, you know how it's going to happen. I'm going to keep playing, though.
Then that's followed by 3 to 10 days of disclosure. We're actually going to be watching previously filmed
And they talk about the disclosure of extraterrestrials. Okay.
Broadcasting 3 8-hour segments a day, showing us exactly what has taken place.
Exactly. Because now this is also connected to this. Shout out to Young Elder when he pointed out Enlil, the Maitreya, right? Because it tells you right here, where if I can find it, it says that this is preparing you for the beast and the dragon and the false prophet, right? When you're talking about the New Age movement, and as we're transitioning into where you're in the golden age, the Aquarian age, the age of information, right? So this is the implementation of the Maitreya in the middle, and he's basically traveling to bring about many different pertinents of the as he portrays himself as the false god. So this is right here. Shout out to Young Elder. Like I said, he's the person that broke down this guy right here in the middle. That is Maitreya. That is Enlil, right? This is part of a book that a publication that I got. I found this passage in here because it tells you that when you in the midst of an economic crash, it says that the latest Lord Maitreya Enlil position in the middle of the globalist Benjamin Cream is scheduled to make his advent appearance once the U.S. economy collapses, right? Lord Maitreya already appeared in several countries in the Orient, and all spiritual leaders endorsed him. Maitreya says he's the Maitreya, the Messiah, who is the false god that all religions have proclaimed to been waiting for of his arrival, right? His miracles so far have been magnetizing water in which people can enter and become healed. So like I said, he is the false, he's the one that's connected to, that controls your deep state cabal, right? He's the one that controls everything. Enlil. He is the jealous god of your so-called Bible, the false Messiah, who stole the birthright of Enki, right? So this is all connected to the Anunnaki, right? This video, man, like I said, everything I'm showing you in this video, man, this video right here is basically showing you everything. You know what I'm saying? It's showing you a full platter of information. That's why it's imperative for you to get these notes out, right? Now, moving on, we're going back to these slides. So, like I said, we just got through talking about the EMP. So that's going to be the precursor to the crash, right? So this publication was created by Paul E. Valley, who was a commander in the military. So from PSYOP to MindWar, the psychology of victory, right? And he's also part of the Church of Satan, because if you look at the bottom right here, that's where the inception of it came from, right here in San Francisco. That's where the headquarters is at, that was created by Anton LaVey. So he's part of that. So you, like I said, the technological systems and psychological operations is a form of futuristic biblical Satanism. Now, MindWar, you know what I'm saying, volumetric weaponry, EMP, EMF waves that deals with psychotronics, right? Because like I said, they don't want you to think for yourself. It's going to be against the law. So MindWar must target all participants if it is effective to be, right? And it's not only to weaken the enemy, but it must strengthen the United States. But that's a lie. It strengthens the United States by denying the enemy propaganda access to our people. But like I said, when you know everything, the history of this government, they use the military weapons, they use it on us. That, like I said, which creates behavior modification when you're talking about these frequencies. And it also is so this is where we're talking about Project Bluebeam right here. So it says right here that MindWar must reach friends, enemies, and neutrals like across the globe, a battlefield, leaflets, and loudspeakers of psyops through let me see. I don't know why it does that. But like I said, the psychotronics is based on, they want to create this dynamic where you have a common enemy, like oh boy was saying. So like I said, it's manipulation of everything. MindWar must target all precipitants. So like I said, you got the effects of low power microwaves when you're talking about the U.S. Army and things of that nature. So like I said, behavioral performance decrements, seizures, right? To where they take over your mental capacity. When I was talking about the new form of pestilence, that's why they said that when we have the next lockdown, the next shutdown all around the planet is going to be based on a neurological syndrome. So they using existing biocommutatives, right? So they want to basically shut down the melanin because they know that when the frequency of the planet rises up, the frequency of humanity rises up through a collective consciousness. So in order to calm that energy down, they got to use those frequency weaponized technologies, you know what I'm saying? And they already tested it on people on Operation White Coat. And they also did it during the Vietnam War. So you also have anti-personal MWRF weaponry, right? So all these things is basically for used for brain interaction, low frequency modulations. What is it doing that? So now you got the tagging. So you got the Pentagon who also work with Walmart when you're talking about nano tagging. So they already have many different tracking devices inside Walmart when you're talking about the food, when you're talking about, because I told you, everybody been saying it, martial law, Walmart is basically one and the same. It's basically a metaphysical anagram, an esoteric anagram, right? So everything is pretty much tagged with all these nanotechnologies. So you also have the detonation of offshore seabed methane hydrate deposits to produce tactical and strategic level tidal waves against, many different regions. That's why I told you to move off the coastlines. You got to get off those coastlines because when you're on those coastlines, that's when they can use those detonations and create these tidal waves, which is, weather modification, because they, that's the only way you can activate a new world order system. You got to have many different afflictions going off at the same time. You got your so-called zombie apocalypse. Then you got a form of pestilence. Then you got, the economic crash. Then you got all these things going on at once. That's when they activate FEMA, right? So this is talking about acoustic weaponry, which works on frequency. Because the same way they use these energies and frequencies, it was the same way that the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Olmecs, they built those pyramids on Pavolian acoustics. So they know that, Pavolian acoustics is also connected to solar frequency. What the government does, they use theirs based on technological frequency, because that's how they germinate our bodies with nanometals to control us on a frequency level. So you got acoustic weaponry. They want to control you. So that's what the World War III is actually about. World War III is not actually a physical war. It's a war with the mind, the war with the heavens, which is the God mind, because the God mind is being activated by the God particle, which makes you a God body. And it's all being projected by the energy of the sun. You got unconventional asymmetrical warfare that's going on. So like I said, this video, these slides and this and everything, this presentation, this publication, this docket came out in 2001. And so it tells you about balloons right there, balloons with GPS sport Kashoots. Who brought the balloon into our atmosphere? Already know what country did that. So that is basically the Trojan horse to everything: ships, boats, planes, cars, trucks, packages, and things of that nature. So it's also talking about targeted effects include tidal waves, EMP, earthquakes, radiation, blasts, and things of that nature. Then you got the exploit CNN syndrome, meaning that they want to keep you deaf, dumb, and blind with the propagation of false media, false truth. Because like I said, it's all being controlled by Luciferians, which is the false light. The false light are the ones who tell you the truth that's connected to their system, the fake truth. So well, okay, so that ends all the slides right there. But I still got some more stuff to show you because it's all interconnected. So like I said, this is all connected to Project Bluebeam, right? So you got step 4 of the NASA Project Bluebeam, right? And the 4th step concerns the universal supernatural manifestation with electrical means. It contains 3 different orientations. One makes mankind to believe of alien off-world invasion. We already talked about that. So like I said, this is also connected to the United Nations Court, which will require all those nations which will launch nuclear weapons to disarm when the invasion is shown have been false, right? So like I said, it's all being controlled by United Nations, who are being controlled by the jealous God of the Bible, Enlil, who is the leader of the black nobility, right? So I have one more thing else to show you. Because like I said, these entities that's coming in, you know what I'm saying? You got the CERN machine. Now, this is very prevalent to everything that's going on because you have many different hyperdimensional portals and travels, you know, that basically combats the blue star Kachina. Because I told you in the last video, because this video is actually the sequel to the last video I put out when we talk about the blue star Kachina. Because the blue star Kachina contains a quark energy that contains hydrons. So it can take you to a different dimension. Now, this video, I mean, not this video, but this is basically telling you that the CERN machine also has an artificial form of hydrons that takes you to the different dimension, but on a malevolent level, right? It's taking you to the dark side, you know, of these other dimensions, to where these entities can come in and take over your vessel in a form of technology. That's what this is basically talking about. So with all that being said, man, it's imperative that you get this video out because a lot of things is actually taking place right now. You know what I'm saying? It's not coincidence that everything is working in synergy to a certain construct and ideology that's being implemented under the year of 2025. That's not a coincidence. You know what I'm saying? They want to encompass this New World Order governmental system, right? Which is a form of communism. It's a form of socialism. It's a form of totalitarian feudalism. It's not by accident that, you know, they want to control our minds. That's why it says this means governmental. They want to control the mental of your neurological capacity because they know that when the mind is in sync with the body, you become a god to where you deviate from their matrix system. So with all that being said, get this video out there. Thanks for watching. End of transmission.